Welcome back to Wainsider, where we dive deep into the heart of professional wrestling, peeling back the layers of drama, passion, and heartbreak that define this world. Tonight, we're stepping into a story that's as raw as it gets, one that's left the wrestling world reeling. Bianca Belair, one of the most resilient superstars in WWE, has finally broken her silence after the devastating loss of her husband, Montez Ford. The news hit like a freight train, and the wrestling community is still grappling with the weight of this tragedy. But to understand the full scope of this moment, we need to go back, way back, to the roots of a family that's been both a cornerstone and a lightning rod in WWE, the Bloodline. The Bloodline isn't just a faction, it's a dynasty. Built on the Anoa'i family's storied legacy, it's a name synonymous with power, pride, and unrelenting dominance. From the days of the Wild Samoans to the modern era of Roman Reigns, this family has carried the weight of expectation on their shoulders. Every step they take in the ring is watched, scrutinized, and judged, not just by fans, but by their own kin. It's a legacy that binds them, but it's also a chain. The pressure to uphold the family name, to be the best, to never show weakness, has always simmered beneath the surface. For years, we've seen them stand tall, a united front, but unity doesn't mean harmony. Think about what it means to be part of the Bloodline. You're not just wrestling for yourself, you're wrestling for your ancestors, your cousins, your brothers. Every win is a tribute, every loss a stain. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, has been the face of this legacy, but he's not alone. The Usos, Solo Sikoa, and even those on the periphery like Montez Ford, married into the family through Bianca Belair, have all felt the weight. Montez, with his charisma and athleticism, was never officially bloodline, but he was family. He was the spark, the outsider who earned his place through love and loyalty. Yet, that same loyalty placed him in the crosshairs of a family under pressure. Please like, share and subscribe for more WWE content. The Bloodline's story has always been about power, but power breeds resentment. Behind the scenes, whispers of tension have circulated for years. Roman's iron grip as the head of the table wasn't just a storyline, it reflected real dynamics. The Usos, once the heart of the faction, have spoken in interviews about the sacrifices they made to elevate the family name. Jey Uso, in particular, has been vocal about the toll it takes to always put family first. Loyalty is a currency in the Bloodline, but it's not infinite. Every member has had to suppress their own ambitions, their own dreams, to serve the greater good. For Montez, that meant navigating a delicate balance, supporting Bianca's meteoric rise while carving out his own path in a family that demands allegiance. Resentment doesn't always show itself in screams or fights. Sometimes, it's quiet, it's in the glances exchanged during a tense promo, the unspoken words when someone's left out of a main event. Montez Ford was a star in his own right, one half of the Street Profits, but he was also Bianca's husband. That connection to the Bloodline, however tangential, pulled him into their orbit. He wasn't just fighting for titles, he was fighting for respect in a family that measures worth by championships and dominance. The pressure to prove himself, to be more than Bianca's husband, was always there. And for Bianca, the strongest woman in WWE, the weight of protecting her husband while carrying her own legacy was a silent burden. Let's pause for a moment and consider Bianca Belair. The strongest, fastest, toughest, has always been a beacon of resilience. Her journey from track star to WWE champion is the stuff of legend, but it's her heart that defines her. She and Montez were more than a power couple, they were a partnership built on love, faith, and mutual hustle. Their chemistry lit up the screen, whether in promos or candid moments on social media. But being married to someone in the Bloodline's shadow meant Bianca was always aware of the stakes. She knew the family's history, the way loyalty could twist into obligation, the way love could be tested by ambition. Now, let's talk about what happened. We've been building to this moment, and it's time to face the truth. Montez Ford's passing wasn't just a tragedy, it was a shockwave. The details are still murky, but the whispers backstage paint a grim picture. Sources close to WWE say Montez was caught in a confrontation that spiraled out of control, one tied to the simmering tensions within the Bloodline. This wasn't a random accident, it was an attack, a brutal act that left the wrestling world stunned. The specifics are scarce, WWE has kept a tight lid on the story, but the rumors point to a betrayal, a fracture within the family that turned deadly. The attack came out of nowhere, or so it seemed. Those who followed the bloodline know that nowhere is never really true. The signs were there, hidden in plain sight. The way Solo Sikoa's demeanor shifted in recent months, the cryptic comments from Jey Uso about handling business, the way Roman Reigns has been more distant than ever. Montez, always the peacemaker, might have tried to bridge a gap that was too wide. He was family, but he was also an outsider, a man who married into the legacy but never fully belonged. That made him vulnerable, a target for someone looking to send a message. When the news broke, the wrestling world stopped. Fans flooded social media with tributes, hashtags like #ForeverFord trending for days. Superstars from every corner of the industry, Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins, even legends like Ric Flair, shared their grief. But it was Bianca's silence that spoke loudest. For weeks, she said nothing, her social media dark, her presence absent from WWE programming. The woman who's always been unbreakable seemed, for the first time, shattered. Backstage, those close to her say she's been grappling with not just loss, but betrayal. The idea that this could have come from within the family she embraced is a wound that cuts deeper than any championship loss. Bianca's statement, when it finally came, was brief but heavy. In a heartfelt post, she spoke of Montez as her heart, her home, her everything. She didn't name names, didn't point fingers, but the subtext was clear: she knows more than she's saying. The wrestling world is buzzing with speculation. Was this a calculated move by someone in the bloodline? Was Montez collateral damage in a power struggle? The lack of answers only fuels the fire. Fans are dissecting every promo, every match, looking for clues. The bloodline's once ironclad unity is now a question mark, and Bianca's grief is the lens through which we're all seeing it. Let's talk about the aftermath. The bloodline is fractured, maybe beyond repair. Roman Reigns has been conspicuously silent, his absence from recent shows raising eyebrows. Jey Uso, always the emotional core of the group, has been seen backstage looking shaken, avoiding questions about Montez. Jimmy Uso, meanwhile, has been more vocal, but his words are cryptic, hinting at consequences without saying for whom. Solo Sikoa, the enforcer, has been the most enigmatic, his cold stare in recent promos chilling. The family that once ruled WWE with an iron fist is now a house divided, and the cracks are impossible to ignore. Backstage, the mood is somber. Wrestlers who've worked with Montez describe him as a light in the locker room, someone who could make anyone laugh even on the worst days. His loss isn't just personal, it's professional. The Street Profits were on the cusp of another tag team title run, and Montez's charisma was a draw that WWE leaned into. Now, Angelo Dawkins is left to carry that torch alone, and sources say he's struggling. The entire roster feels the void, but for those closest to the bloodline, there's an added layer of tension. Trust, once a given, is now a luxury. What does this mean for the bloodline's legacy? For decades, the Anoa'i family has been WWE's backbone, producing champions, headliners, and Hall of Famers. But legacies are fragile. One act of betrayal can tarnish a dynasty, and this feels like more than a single act. The attack on Montez wasn't just an assault on a man, it was an assault on the idea of family. The bloodline's story has always been about loyalty, but what happens when loyalty is weaponized? When the people you trust most are the ones who hurt you? That's the question hanging over every member of this faction now. Bianca Belair is at the center of this storm. As the Est, she's never backed down from a fight, but this is different. This isn't about titles or rivalries, it's about her heart. Sources say she's been meeting with WWE management, pushing for answers, demanding accountability. There's talk of her returning to the ring soon, but it won't be the same Bianca. The fire in her eyes will burn hotter, fueled by grief and a need for justice. Fans are already rallying behind her, chanting Montez's name at live events, turning his memory into a movement. Bianca's not just fighting for herself now, she's fighting for him. The wrestling world is watching, waiting to see how this unfolds. Will Bianca confront the bloodline directly? Will she call out the person responsible, or is she playing a longer game? The rumors are relentless. Some say Roman Reigns himself sanctioned the attack to maintain control, others point to Solo Sikoa as the mastermind. There's even speculation that an outside force, someone with a grudge against the bloodline, used Montez to send a message. The truth is out there, but it's buried under layers of loyalty, fear, and family secrets. Let's talk about the big